We're live. Sorry about that, guys. The system was giving me a little message, and I thought that meant we weren't live yet. So howdy, everyone. I'm Leslie Hassler with Your Biz Rules Business Coaching, here for your little morning business boost with the Be More Successful show. How are you this morning? This week just feels like I'm walking through mud. Allergies are really bad. Air quality is really bad. Thankfully, our heat has broken for a while. I don't know how long it's actually due to stay broken. But yeah, so it's about 70 degrees outside in Texas. That's almost sweater weather. Not quite, but we're at least enjoying the break in heat. So today we are talking about trust, and trust is a really interesting component of business ownership. And I was thinking about this topic this morning, and I was thinking about, what I speak to you through the videos. So many times it's really leadership and management style. And part of that reason is that as soon as you get a stable, predictable base, like you can bring in clients, let's say normal times, you can bring in clients, right? Then you've got the engine at least to be able to build upon. Almost everything past that is really a management issue or a leadership issue. There's communication skills, leadership skills, trust, what we're going to talk about today. There is more advanced growth and scaling type of techniques, and I talk to you about those as well, because they typically what works is very much the antithesis of what people think they need to do. So I just try to communicate that. And partly it's because I'm truly committed to what happens when, what happens when you're in charge, what happens when you feel in charge. Let's qualify that. When you feel confident, when you've got a team around you that is committed and engaged and accountable, when you've got clients that you work with, all of these things produce a beautiful picture and such an amazing transformation, and really does give you the ability to have impact and the ability to build legacy and the ability to feel good and confident. It's one of those really interesting things. A lot of times our clients, when we're working together, they tend to get nominated for all the awards, the best of awards and Inc. 5000 and best places to work. And that's because we've transformed the business, and the business has so much good juju around it that others notice it. So that's one of the things we're committed to sharing with you through the Be More Successful show. Today we're talking about trust, and I think trust is really interesting. And the question that I asked you is, what is trust costing you? Well, so let's go through a little bit and look at this. So trust is really, I love this definition, is choosing to risk something that you value to make it vulnerable to others and other people's actions. And I think if you get that definition of trust, you can see why so many entrepreneurs have a really hard time trusting others, because it is your baby, because it is so much is riding on the line for so many people. You put in the blood, sweat, and tears, and when your business needs it, you pull out all the punches to make it happen, right? So it's really hard because you care that much. And I'll be honest, there likely is not going to be somebody that cares to the level that you care, but you're caring to like the 1,000 level, right? And we want our team members to care to maybe the 100 level, 100%. You're caring 1,000%. So really and truly, trust is that glue that holds everything together. And I have seen where the distrust from the owner is so ingrained that it just tears everything apart. I mean, employees that had the potential to be the best employees wind up being the worst employees because people deliver what you expect from them. It's a case of, it's just, we cannot trust ourselves a lot of times. And that really shows up when we are not trusting ourselves. It shows up in the inability to move forward, or the inability to make a decision. There is a certain level of trust that you can develop in yourself, that even if you don't make the absolute best decision, you can be okay with it moving forward, because that you've put the things in place prior to the decisions, right? That just give you the best ability to make the right decision, but you're accepting enough that sometimes you have to learn that maybe that one wasn't the best decision and make a course correction. Whereas when you've got trust issues, when you have a decision that didn't play out like you had hoped it would, because, I don't know, there's a million other variables in the mix, and you choose to never make that decision again, that's a lack of trust. That's what that is, okay? So we cannot trust our clients. We cannot trust our clients to pay on time. We cannot trust our clients to come to the table when we need them to come to the table, to provide feedback, to be responsible in their interactions. And we'll get exactly that. If you've ever had the laundry list of clients that you hope never to work again with, chances are, if you're not trusting them to play at this level, they're not going to come to the table at this level, because like attracts like. It's a very interesting thing. And I think probably the biggest bucket of trust that I see entrepreneurs struggling with is with their employees and with their teams and with the contractors and the vendors that they bring into the company to help them be able to move forward. My favorite definition that I was given, 9 years ago, of a business is a successful commercial enterprise that can run without you. That's my favorite definition of business. So we need these other people, or you're going to be the chief cook and bottle washer forever. And believe me, I've seen chief cook and bottle washers at 7-figure businesses. It's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. And that poor person is just ready to throw it all away because they're so exhausted from it. So if you've got things like when you're sitting in your office and there's been a line out the office of people waiting to talk to you, waiting to get your opinion on something, chances are you might have a trust issue. Or if your phone never stops ringing because there's so many people that need you, chances are that's a trust issue, right? If you are the last to leave, like by hours, like everyone else is out the door at 5 o'clock and you're still sitting there at 8 o'clock, chances are you've got some trust issues, right? And you've helped bad habits be perpetuated in your office. And I think the last one is where you never can put it down, right? You can never put your business down. You can never close the laptop, close the phone, close the email, and be with your family. That's a sign that you've got some trust issues. Right? So really and truly what we want to know is, how can we be more successful with this? How can we be more successful in trusting others so that we can have that business that can operate by itself? Or at the very least, you can leave when everybody else leaves, right? You can close it up. You can go to sleep. You're not waking up at 3 in the morning thinking about all the things that didn't get done, right? So we really want to know that with trust, all things are possible. Right? It's not, trust is just, it's not a nice to have thing. It's a must to have thing. It is that little thread, those little bindings, if you will, that make the business possible to move forward. And if you don't have trust in your business, it's very likely that you won't be able to move forward, that you'll be stuck, which means if you're not growing, you're dying, right? It's just the unfortunate truth of business. So here's our 3 things that we're going to talk about with trust. One is, let's get honest. My favorite word to ask, let's get honest. What are your trust issues? Who do you not trust in your business right now? And if it's yourself, that's okay. Own it, right? Own it, and then forgive her or him. Employees, clients, just list it out. I always say it's not so much that we do this part of the exercise to harp or to stay stuck or mired or downward spiral in the problem. We do this exercise so that we're aware, because if we're aware, then we can give intention, right? And this is the whole difference between being reactive in your business and being strategic in your business. If you're not aware, you're not going to be strategic. So we want to turn that or transform that mindset, since we used transform earlier. 2 is to get real about what it's costing you. Here's the thing. We need to recognize where it's really hurting us, where the true pain lies of it, where the true cost lie of it. And we've got to look it real in the face. Pain and discomfort is really an interesting thing. The longer you're in it, the less you feel it. That doesn't mean that it's not getting bigger. It just means you've gotten comfortable with it. So we need to look at it and be honest about what's it costing you. What's it costing you mentally? What's it costing you physically? What's it costing your ability to realize the potential of your employees, of your clients, of your business, of your growth opportunity? What's it really costing you? And be honest here, guys, because at the end of the day, anytime we're looking at change and bringing change and transformation into a business, what we really need to understand is it's going to be uncomfortable, right? We're going to experience discomfort. But if we can look at it and go, yeah, but look at what it's been costing me. This is worse. Then you're able to make that change and you're able to see those things through. So that's why we want to be able to do our second tip, right? Is really get real about what it's costing you. And then kind of moving forward, we're gonna borrow a tip from Brené Brown at A Dare to Lead. If you haven't read it, please, oh my God, read it. And it's in part 3 that she talks about braving trust, right? And she really goes down and she looks at defining what your boundaries are. What are those boundaries? What does reliability look like to you? What does accountability look like to you? I love the vault kind of area. Vault is, what do you not need to share? I will tell you, I overshared in my first business. I probably burned a lot of employees that way. I just wanted them to realize what I was going through. They didn't need to know in some ways. Not to say that you don't need to be transparent. It's just knowing when that's too far, if that makes sense. Being integrity, non-judgment, generosity, right? All of these words that she outlines, and the chapter does a much better job than I'm going to do here for you in 20 minutes. But if you really start to think about your business and say, okay, here are the boundaries. Here's my boundaries. Here's your boundaries. Here's our clients' boundaries, right? This is a huge thing that people do not define. And I find that when we're coming in and getting a business ready to get back into growth and scalability, we work really hard in defining what the rules of the game are, if you will. And they can be different. My rules are going to be different than your rules, and that's okay. But that reliability and that accountability really is about your trusting, right? And being able to communicate that to others in a way that they buy in, that they take ownership and accountability for those things. Understanding these things, I think probably the best thing that I'm going to leave you with today, kind of that parting phrase, if you will, is if you could understand that everyone is coming from a place of good. Everyone is coming from a place of good. It's just sometimes communication messages get twisted. And it can be, especially right now, I had somebody, what do they call it? We should call it social media rage on me. And I was like, wow. That was a really neutral thing I said, right? But there have a lot of charged emotions around this. And I was like, you know what? From a place of good, I understand how you feel. I just don't agree with you, right? And that's okay. But that's very different. That's a very different way to approach things versus feeling like somebody's attacking you or trying to take something from you. Like if you can always understand that somebody's coming from a fairly good position, they're just having trouble communicating it through their frustration, and Brené Brown would say shame or guilt or any of those other things that cause us to do what we do, it will shift your attitude. And we're really talking about transforming who you are in a lot of ways. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, we talked about be times do equals have. This is the be component, right? Transforming who you are as a leader so that your business can elevate. Because you, being the owner and the leader, you have to elevate first. You have to come up to that next level. And then your business and your team and your clients can follow. I promise you, the other side of the rainbow, it is a glorious picture. You can actually not have your phone ring off the hook. It's quite amazing. I highly recommend it. So that's it for today, guys. If you're catching this in replay, say, hey, replay, let me know you saw it. If you caught it live, I should have said that at the beginning, say howdy so that I know that you're here. And then if you'd like to have notifications, there's a link in the post about how to get those so that you get a little ping when I go live next. And then lastly, if you know a business owner that needs to hear this today, and probably more than you think need to hear it today, please share, please comment, please tag. Let's really work as a community and share the things that we need to know to be able to move forward. So that's it for today, guys. My name is Leslie Hassler with Your Biz Rules Business Coaching. And until Thursday, I'll be seeing you soon.